Hello and welcome to the Power BI April 2021 update. In this video, we'll explore what's new this month and see some demos of the highlights. We have some exciting new updates for you in the reporting section. First, we're thrilled to announce that we have a new Power Automate visual that will soon be available for download from AppSource. With this new visual, end users can run a dynamic automated flow, all within the context of a Power BI report. Power Automate for Power BI will help your end users go from insights to actions with a click of a button. Charles will take us through a demo of this new visual.
The Power Automate custom visual for Power BI enables me to take action and automate the data inside of my Power BI reports. In this example, I'm actually sending a delay notice to all of my orders. What happens if we actually want to go ahead and create a flow that sends an early notice, the fact that your order is actually going to be ahead of schedule? Let's go ahead and add a brand new Power Automate custom visual, and it gives me the guidance on how to use it. The first one says drag the fields. So let's go ahead and drag the fields. In this case, I actually need the email address column, and I actually want to let them know what order is going to be ahead of time or ahead of schedule. So that's all we're going to add for this particular flow. But of course, I could have actually dragged many more columns. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and edit this. At this point, I actually can see inside of Power BI a Power Automate editing experience where I can actually go out and select existing flows. You can see I've got 2 of them here. Or in our case, we're going to go out and create a brand new one. And let's call this one Early Notice. Okay. And you'll see that it's already actually set up to have the Power BI button click trigger. So that means I can actually activate it from a button click inside of Power BI. And as far as my action that I'm going to take, and we're going to send email. And here it is. Now I want to point out the fact that it doesn't know if I'm actually going to send in 1 row or multiple rows. We know we're going to send in multiple rows. So the second I actually go out and specify a data set with multiple rows, it's going to automatically put this in a loop for me. So let's actually show that. Add dynamic content, reference that email address, and now we're going to apply to each loop. Going back into that send email action, the subject is going to be the name of the order. There we go. And I'll actually send it in twice with the text is going to be early. Okay, that's it. We've actually created a flow inside of Power BI and passed in with filter context all of the data from that report. So let's save this. What we're going to do is go back into the flow environment and we're going to say apply. This actually binds that button inside of my Power BI report to this particular flow. Now if we go back into the report itself, and let's actually make this a little bit more manageable. Come on. Oh, way too small. Move it over here. Not quite small enough. You get the idea. And obviously I can go out and change any of this text, any of the other properties like color. Let's actually just change that one text. That way it makes a little bit more sense for the context. And the button text is going to say, you need to be able to read what I'm typing. There we go. Early notice. Okay. Now, when I actually put this back into reading view, it will actually let me pass in whatever data set I'm looking at. And that's kind of important. It's actually a big benefit. In this case, I don't want to let all of these rows know that their order is going to be early, because maybe only the state code of 0 is early. So let's go ahead and set that filter context to only these 4 or 5 rows, whatever that is. And now go ahead and trigger that flow. So you'll see that we're in a triggered state. Oh, it's actually already run. Now if we go back into flow, go to My Flows, we actually should see the one that was just created from within Power BI. That's early notice. So you can see it was created 1 minute ago. And hopefully it has a succeeded status, and it does. And we go out and take a look at all of those rows. So let's go out and see that let's actually go to the second one down, raw inputs. And you can see that this actually was the Corvette 3 laptop, which has got to be a great one with the name of Corvette. And if I go into my inbox, you can see that this is it. Oh, I probably should have put a space there inside of my flow, but that's great. It actually went out and sent an email notice to every single one of those rows from within my Power BI report. I hope that you actually found this video useful and continue using the Power Automate Custom Visual for Power BI.
Next, we're making 2 additions to the Small Multiples preview feature: padding controls and support for line and column combo charts. You'll find the padding controls in the grid layout card in the formatting pane, where you can adjust the grid padding slicer to automatically change all of the padding around your small multiples. Or you can turn on advanced padding options to adjust each padding element individually. You'll be able to control inner and outer column padding and inner and outer row padding. Combo charts also now support small multiples. To split your combo charts by a particular field, simply drag and drop a field into the Small Multiples field well in the Visualizations pane. We're also excited to announce that we've made some huge updates to Shapes visuals. Now you'll find many more shapes, more formatting options, new default styling, and the ability to upgrade any old shapes in your report. Sujatha will show us a demo of all of this new functionality.
We are super excited to announce that we've significantly updated the shapes in Power BI. This update includes a lot more new shapes, more formatting options, a new default styling, and the ability to upgrade any old shapes within your report. Before we dive into the details, I want to give a big thank you to Ethan Netz. He was the contributor that helped build the shape component from the ground up. This was his first time developing as a contributor for Power BI, but we're thrilled to say that he'll be joining as a full-time developer, so you'll for sure see more of his features in coming releases. So now let's get started and see what's available with these new shapes. To add these new shapes to your report, simply go to the Insert tab in the ribbon and then select the Shapes dropdown. Here you'll see a lot of shapes to choose from. You have some common rectangle shapes, basic shapes, as well as block arrows. So in this case, I've added several different shapes to kind of show you what's available, as well as showing you the types of formatting options available. So let's dive deeper in terms of the new formatting capabilities. So a big one you'll notice is that we've added text options. And this is really useful because we know that in the past, in order to get text options on a shape, you're essentially having to create a shape and then you add a text box on top of it. And we know that that can be a real pain and also adds more elements that you need to manage on the report. So we've simplified that experience by adding a text formatting option on the shape itself. So you can access that in the Format pane under Text. And you'll have a lot of options here, including font color, text size, font family, as well as some alignment and margin options. Next setting we want to look at is rounded edges. And even though we had rounded edges in the old shape visual, in the previous experience it was tied to the outline setting. And that caused some issues because let's say if you didn't want to have an outline but you still wanted rounded edges, that was not possible. However, in the new experience, we've added this setting within the Shape tab so that it's no longer tied to whether or not you have the outline turned on. Next thing we want to talk about is the shadow formatting. So previously we just had shadow available for the entire visual container, but if you didn't have shapes that filled the full container, the shadow would look not exactly encompassing the shape. So in this case, we've added a shadow that is available on the shape, and you can find this under the shadow tab right here. And you'll be able to control the color, transparency, blur, and the preset as well. Next, similar to shadow, we have a setting called glow. And so in this case, we can open up this tab here called glow. And it's very similar, except you'll see that glow is all around the shape like this, and you can also customize similar to shadow, the transparency, and the blur. And then the last formatting setting I want to talk about is rotation. And before we also had rotation, but it didn't have a lot of granular control. But in this new experience, you'll be able to control the rotation of the shape and text together as a whole, or just the shape, or just the text alone. And so that kind of gives you a lot more granular control of the rotation of both the text and the shape. The next thing I want to talk about is that we've also updated the default styling. So let's say if you are changing the theme, so I'm going to go ahead and just pick some different theme colors. You'll see that the styling of the shapes have actually changed. So they're attached to different parts of the theme, specifically your data colors align with the shape. So you can see here if I'm changing the colors here, the shapes change differently compared to the old shape experience, so the old styling of the shapes. One more thing I want to touch on before we move on to the next section is that when you have old shapes in your report, converting is very simple. So in this case, there's an older shape right here, and you'll notice when I click on it, I have the option to convert this to the modern design. So when I go ahead and click convert, we'll get this dialog that asks me if I want to upgrade all of the shapes in this report at once. I can check that. If I just want to upgrade this shape, I can click convert. Also note that you can always multi-select shapes on the same page if you want to convert multiple at the same time. So let's go ahead and convert. Notice that you may need to readjust the shape after you've converted it because the older shape did have a little bit of padding between the sides of the shape. So that's it for the update on shapes. We really hope that you like this new capability, and as always, we really appreciate any feedback that you have.
This month, we're introducing a new capability in line, bar, column, area, and combo charts to invert the value axis. This allows you to reverse the direction in which the axis is rendered, with positive going down and negative going up. You can find the Invert Axis toggle in the associated Value Axis card in the Formatting pane. We'll also be releasing similar functionality to reverse continuous fields in the primary axis. You'll be able to sort continuous axes by ascending or descending, enabling use cases like showing the most recent data first. Next, in the modeling section, we've updated the direct query for Power BI datasets and the Azure Analysis Services Preview feature to allow you to connect to a perspective when making a direct query connection on an Azure Analysis Services model, assuming you have one available. Thank you for giving your feedback on the feature, and please continue to send us your thoughts. We are also adding support for the many-to-many relationships to the cross-filter function. The cross-filter type parameter allows you to specify how you want the filter to flow. Previously, you could choose both, none, or one way. For many-to-many relationships, however, one way wasn't enough control as the filter could go into either direction. To address this, we've added the left filters right and right filters left options to give you more control over the direction of the filter flows in this scenario. We've also made performance improvements to the if and switch functions. These changes will eliminate branches unselected earlier in the calculation pipeline, improving the performance of switch functions with many branches and deeply nested if functions. The DAX patterns for the branch conditions covered by the optimization are matching selected values, min, or max to values of the column. We have several new updates for you in the data connectivity section. First, we're happy to announce the availability of 2 new connectors this month, the Bloomberg Data and Analytics Connector and the SoftOne BI Connector. The Bloomberg Data and Analytics Connector brings Bloomberg's best-in-class portfolio analytics to Power BI through Bloomberg's Port Enterprise reporting solution. Now you can access portfolio ex-ante risk, sophisticated performance attribution, and portfolio characteristics data all inside Power BI. The SoftOne BI Power Query connector provides access to SoftOne ERP and Atlantis ERP data, combining SoftOne's powerful built-in analytics, advanced predictive models, and machine learning technologies with all the reporting capabilities of Power BI. Next, we're pleased to announce that Text or CSV by Example in Power Query is now generally available. This feature makes it extremely easy for you to extract data from text or CSV files without having to think about the data transformations to apply. Instead, you can simply provide a set of sample values to extract and let Power Query infer the transformations to achieve it. To use this feature, you will now see an option in the Text or CSV connector to extract table using examples on the bottom left corner of the File Preview dialog. Automatic table detection from Excel files is now generally available as well. A typical challenge with extracting data from Excel files is that the data is not often formatted as tables, so the task to scrape relevant data from an Excel spreadsheet can be very time-consuming. Automatic table detection will automatically identify sections of each Excel spreadsheet to extract into a table and then show you them under a suggested tables group in the navigator. We are also announcing the general availability of automatic table detection from JSON files. Just as with Excel, it can be challenging to import data from JSON files into tables for Power BI to easily consume. With the addition of automatic table detection, Power Query will automatically apply transformations to flatten the JSON data into a table, saving you a lot of time manually flattening records or lists. This feature also adds support for new line delimited JSON, where each line in a file is a JSON string. We have some exciting new updates for you in the service section. First, we're releasing a new sharing experience to support sharing reports via links. Previously, we supported sharing reports through a dialog granting users direct access. Now you can share reports using links as well. Sujatha will show us a demo of the new experience.
We're super excited to announce that by the end of this month, we're releasing a brand new sharing experience. This experience has new functionality as well as a new user interface. Let's take a look at some of the changes in this release. So you'll see right off the bat, we have a new sharing dialog that will be released. This dialog has the option to share to people in your organization using a link. So if you click on this option right here, you'll be able to change the settings for this link. So you'll be able to change who the link works for. So for example, if you have people in your organization selected, this means that the link will work for internal users that are within your organization. So that excludes guest users. And then you also have the option for sharing the link with people with existing access, which means that they already have permissions to the content. And then you'll also have an option here to specify specific people that you want the link to work for. And then you'll see that there's some additional settings that work when you're granting access with the link. You can allow recipients to either reshare the report, or you can also allow them to build content off the report. So let's say we're going to go ahead and uncheck this. So meaning that in this case, people in your organization will just be able to view the report using this link. So we'll go ahead and click apply. And so there you see the restatement of what the link can do and who the link works for. Now we can go ahead and click copy link. And then I can go and share this link with people in my organization. And when they click on it, they'll be able to view the report. Now let's take a look at other capabilities with this new experience. So if we relaunch the share dialog, you'll see that there is a context menu in the top right corner called More Options. Go ahead and click on that, and then click Manage Permissions. So here we have this new Manage Permissions pane. And this is where we'll be able to see both the links that give access as well as who has direct access to the content. So you can do some lightweight management here by either removing certain links, quickly modifying who has access to the links, or simply seeing what links are available and who they give access to and what access is within that link. And let's say, for example, if you want to quickly add users for direct access, you can do that by clicking the plus icon here that says grant people access. So let's go ahead and add a new user here. So let's add a coworker, and let's just turn off email notifications for now, and let's say let's give them share permissions but not build, and then we can go ahead and click grant access, and there you'll see that they now have direct access. So if you need to do more than lightweight editing of the permissions, either for the links that give access or for the direct access, the people that have direct access, you can click the advanced option in the corner, and then we'll navigate you to the main management page. And here you'll see that for this report, there's 3 different pivots here. This is where you'll be able to see the links that give access to the content. You'll be able to see direct access, and then any pending access requests would be here. So let's go to direct access. And let's say I want to change permissions for my coworker. I can go ahead and click the ... menu. And let's say I want to actually remove their reshare. I can do that here. So you'll see that very similar to the old experience in terms of capabilities, but just a new user interface. For those that are sharing other types of content, such as dashboards or paginated reports, it's important to note that these do not have the new link sharing experience, but they do have an upgraded dialog for direct access sharing. Another thing worth mentioning is that if you've made certain filters or slicer changes, or even personalized certain visuals on the report, and you want to include those changes when you share it, you can only do so in the Grant People Access dialog by selecting Include My Changes. We don't have this capability in link sharing yet, but we do plan to add that in the near future. We really hope that you'll like this new sharing experience, and it'll make it a lot simpler for you to share reports to people. And also note that we do plan on making more investments, so please give us your feedback, and we hope to make improvements along the way.
We're also improving the Create on top of published dataset experience. This aligns all the Power BI experiences that deal with datasets exploration and creation to use the new Datasets Hub experience. When you create a new report in the service based on top of an existing dataset, you will now see the same Hub experience in a dialog. We've also added new capabilities to deployment pipelines, including paginated report support, data protection integration, dataset deployment and updates for Workspace members, and others. To learn more about all of our latest releases, check out the related post on our blog. Additionally, we're making several new enhancements to sensitivity labels. First, sensitivity labels in Power BI Embedded are now generally available. This sensitivity label will be visible in the embedded view, and the label and its protection will persist when the data is exported to Excel. Next, we're previewing the Power BI MIP label inheritance when importing data from Azure Synapse Analytics and Azure SQL Database, helping you to ensure your data remains classified and secured across its journey from Azure through Power BI and all the way to Office. To help classify and label all sensitive data in Power BI, we're introducing new Power BI admin APIs to help programmatically set and remove sensitivity labels as well. In the visualization section, we have several exciting new and updated visuals available for you on AppSource. New this month, the Cycle Plot by Nova Silver BV, the Graphomate Charts visual by Graphomate, the ACCO Planning visual by Acrobat AS, and the Legend Map visual by MGen PBI. Updated this month are the Financial Reporting Matrix by ProfitBase and the Merged Bar Chart by Nova Silver. More information on all of the new and updated visuals can be found on our blog and in their respective links in the video description below. Lastly, this month's editors' picks are the TheraTrack Timeline Circle, the Card with States visual by OKViz, and the Horizon Chart by XViz. You can find these editors' picks and all of the other mentioned visuals on AppSource. In the Developers section, the API version 3.6.0 is now available. We highly recommend you update your visuals to the latest and greatest releases to enjoy new functionalities and improvements. The new API supports the empty data roles feature, which allows you to receive updates from Power BI without the need to bind any data. And lastly, we know that when you reach out to our support teams, you want to be helped as quickly as possible. However, collecting diagnostic information necessary to analyze the situation can frequently take a long time. This month, we're making it easier to collect information when working with our support teams through a Collect Diagnostic Information button in the Options menu. While you should only use this option when asked to do so, it will make the process substantially smoother for you and our support team. Jeroen will show us a demo.
When working with our support team to resolve issues with Desktop, you will be asked to share diagnostic information. And we made it easier to collect that information. So when asked by our support team, go to File, choose Options and Settings, and then choose Options. Under Global, go to the Diagnostics option. And then at the top here, enable tracing, and then click the Collect Diagnostic Information button. A new dialog will open that explains exactly what diagnostic information we collect. More information is provided in our documentation, which you can access using the Learn More links. Finally, you can specify a location where you want the information to be stored, and then you click Save. After a short delay, Desktop will create a zip file in the location you specified. That zip file contains all the diagnostic information we collected. You can then review that and share it with our support team so they can help you as quickly as possible.
And in the community section, we have 2 updates for you. First, we invite you to join us at the Microsoft Business Application Summit on May 4th, where you can learn and connect with your worldwide community. Check out the sneak preview video when you register at aka.ms/myembas. And remember to visit us on community.powerbi.com to connect with experts and peers, share your ideas, learn and get help from other community members. The Power BI community is a great place if you're new to Power BI or an expert. So go ahead, join us. Register at community.powerbi.com. And that's all for this month. As always, we hope you enjoy the updates and please keep sending us feedback on what you'd like to see in upcoming releases. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next month.